Welcome back, everyone. We have the final match, the winner's match, not the final match. You know what, because we have one more tomorrow, but the winner's match of Group A. It's going to be ANOX and Misfits going up against each other for the opportunity to move on to the Face It and ELEAGUE finals at the end of September. It's very exciting for me to find our first team to qualify. And joining me on the desk for this moment of excitement, I have Ash Joshi and I have DDK. Guys, how do you feel about this matchup?
It's going to be a good one. I think we just saw some great performances out of Misfits and ANOX. ANOX a little bit more on fire than they have been in previous weeks, so Misfits definitely have their work cut out for them.
And the cool thing as well is that this is a rematch of the finals of the first week of qualifiers. And because of that, I feel like we've seen a generally static play from ANOX across the last few weeks. They had that, again, like people refer to it as this kind of Cinderella week where everything was amazing. And then that kind of just they'd lost the dynamism to their play. And contrast to that, we actually see Misfits. To me, they seem like a team that are very, very. They have so much to offer from, like, innovating new strategies. There's so much from player to player as to all the different heroes that they can play and how they can mix it up. So it's always really interesting to watch them. I feel it's more about the individual skill, but players like Cypher have a lot of that, and that's always fun to watch. We saw that just now.
Yeah, absolutely. We did get to see Misfits play last week at the Overwatch Atlantic Showdown, and they put on an incredible show. They showed they were able to play on stage and in front of a crowd, which is so huge. But as DDK said, ANOX has some of those historical esports players who have put in so much time on stage, playing in front of audiences, playing with massive amounts of pressure. So these are two teams that I'm really hoping to see make it all the way to the finals of Face It and ELEAGUE in September, because they are the ones that kind of, to me, have the most experience. They're going to put on, I think, the best show.
Yeah, so keep in mind, everyone at home, this is a $300,000 event, and we are finally at crunch time. This is the deciding match, the first of many throughout this week, that will send a team to Atlanta for those finals at the end of September. $300,000 is a lot of money. Obviously, it's not all going to one team, but 16 teams from across Europe and North America will be battling it out in Atlanta at the end of September. Misfits or ANOX could be the first ones there.
Absolutely. And based on just the performance that we've seen today, and especially considering the maps which we have available, which are Kings Row, Nepal, and Dorado, what are we expecting to see out of these two teams here? They know each other fairly well. As you mentioned before, DDK, they did face off at the beginning of this league, which left Misfits ahead by 3, although ANOX did win that first matchup.
I mean, I personally feel like right now, Misfits will always be quite the favorite because, again, they have so much variety to everybody on the team. They really seem to understand how to do the shot calling. They have always the extra steps to what has become more kind of basic strategies in the top level of the metagame, but they're still thinking ahead of that. And generally speaking, I see so much more awareness as to how they're supposed to attack certain situations, whereas with the coordination aspect on the flip side with ANOX, I feel like that's where they struggle a lot. So the payload maps, I'm going to really be looking towards them really nailing that coordination, because that's something that almost Misfits can take for granted. So because we have 2 payload maps, I feel really kind of bad for ANOX, but they might surprise us.
Well, Jurosar brought this up about ANOX, is they were sort of losing their team coherence, and they said in an interview, we really need to find out how to fix it. Then they had this amazing game today. We asked Rubicon, how did you fix it? Did you figure out what the problem is? And he goes, I don't know. Suddenly we're just doing a lot better. So, they might not have a grasp on why they're doing better, but they certainly are, and I'm really looking forward to this matchup as a result. ANOX and Misfits both playing at the top of their game, and you're going to get to see it right after this short break.
conviction. We all crave for you, we all crave. And you can kill the wildest thing. When you murder, it's a sin. In the midst of your conviction, we all crave for you, we all crave.
All right, everybody, welcome back to the Overwatch Open presented by Faceit and ELEAGUE. I am Ask Joshi, casting with DDK. We are here on Kings Row for map number 1 of this best of 3. It is the winner's bracket final, or the winner's match of this Group A, Misfits versus ANOX. It is a rematch from Week 1.
And the cool thing about that Week 1 was that it did look like ANOX were, well, they just transformed. The boot camp really managed to make them work. We saw magic, and we saw a first point hold on this map on defense. Of course, it will be Misfits who will be starting off on the defense to begin with, but ANOX, they do love to go for that style with ANOX just jumping in. Previously, that's how they did it. He would jump in with the Winston, and that would give, Cypher just some breathing room to try to make some space and split up the back lines a little bit, and that was kind of how they would make it work. And again, it does feel to me like ANOX have been one of the teams that strategically has been a little bit more stagnant than some of the other ones.
I can see just on these sprays, all the animated season sprays that they got from Season 1. You can see them all posted up behind the hotel. That is a very common starting area there. You can see their composition as well is very, very common for these payload defenses. Reinhardt and Zarya being the tanks, Lucio Zen and Reaper McCree as damage. Reaper and McCree really work out as damage dealers here on defense because you're letting the attackers come into you and then just blasting them apart. You don't need to flank. You don't really need to defend their backlines. You just need to protect your own.
And looking for the moment to go in there, we can see Sharek slowly pushing his team forwards there with a Reinhardt shield as they're looking for that moment to go in. We get some of the discos going in, and once again, it just seems a little bit awkward to actually get onto the point now, as Misfits have decided that now it's time to expand onto the point, to go for the defense, and it's looking pretty nuts at the moment right now as we're getting Sharek going straight in there with the Reinhardt. That's an amazing way to initiate the fight. Wow. And actually, Misfits are going to be just sitting on this point at the moment, and ANOX is trying to fight for dear life. He's got some charge here to work with Zarya, to say the least, but it seems like Misfits will manage to actually hold on to it.
It's kind of interesting. It was like a slow bleed fight. Sharek got 3 killing blows over the course of about a minute-long battle. Now you can see ANOX actually starting to dip their toes onto the point once again, but by now the entire defense has returned. Crew is here already almost at full charge. Somehow he's always above 80%, but here he goes, actually just rushing forward now with the Lucio speed boost. Transcendence from Rubicon very early in the fight. Not going to have it available here for the Graviton Surge, but they did pick off soon. They got rid of that damage dealer. Cypher being focused down very quickly. He's actually on Roadhog popping that whole hog ultimate now. Kenzie on the Hanzo has been just a quiet killer throughout, just pouring in damage where he can. The Dragon itself doesn't actually get any kills, but Cypher and Anag, the 2 tanks here, are able to clean up. 3 tanks, actually, excuse me. This is a triple tank offense that we've got here from ANOX.
And that was actually really interesting because Crew managed to get behind. I mean, yeah, he got the speed boost behind the shield there, the Reinhardt that was pushing in Sharek, and I thought like maybe he could actually get something done there. Also, the timing of the Graviton looked pretty nice, but very strong offense there from ANOX. Very confident indeed with that triple tank setup. Things seem to be starting off well. We're going to see some switches here, perhaps, as they move into the middle section.
Cypher has swapped now from Roadhog to Reaper. a very common attacker here for the payload. Obviously, he can teleport, get into those back lines. Now, getting into the back line, of course, is very important compared to the point A where everyone's just kind of bunched up. You really just want to pour damage into a single area. This is where getting those flankers going really is going to help out. Crew actually losing everything very quickly there to Cypher. The Reaper sneaking around behind Kenzie with that McCree play, also just sinking in tons of damage. Everything's looking good for ANOX here so far in the Streets phase.
Yeah, just powering through now and trying to see if they can get any additional advantages as the players' Misfits will try to flee, but they will not be able to do so. And Kenzie's been really on point. We saw the just lovely work from him previously with Tracer, and back to that more standard McCree that we used to see him playing with very, very often weeks ago. And now he's just lurking above, seeing if he can get some extra damage there with the high grounders. ANOX is pushing in very quickly, but now finally we'll get Misfits trying to go for the challenge here to delay things and stop that payload from reaching the point. Zapri in behind the shield, they're not able to get it done. He gets discorded immediately and dealt with. Very good cognizance there from ANOX to try to actually understand the attack coming and how to deal with it, giving some space for it. But then we'll get the ultimate coming in from Rubicon to slow things down here, and it's just absolute chaos on this point. But it seems like Misfits will be able to actually win the day.
There was just a string of ultimates coming out from both sides. It looked like no one was dying for a while. Of course, that's because of the Transcendence from Rubicon. Is a little bit questionable because they already lost one of their players. Popping the Transcendence there, he thought, okay, maybe we can still win this fight, but then the enemy team Misfits just come in with a Earthshatter and a Transcendence of their own, and basically they just did not have the ultimates to be able to stack up. So losing that Transcendence for the attacking side can be detrimental here. They don't have a sound barrier available anytime soon either, so the killers, the damage dealers, are just going to have to get it done soon on defense with a Deadeye from behind, finds 3 targets. Very easy cleanup here as he just drops the flash on Zarya as well. He might not get the kill, but they definitely will stop them here at this checkpoint once again.
And that's some of the sneaky stuff that they're so good at. I've seen Soon go for that so many times, but Cypher somehow gets in there, and that is going to do so much damage to that Death Blossom, and Cypher just standing large and in charge on top of the payload now as it slowly edges its way forwards, and his team regroups with him. And right now, actually, the time doesn't look too bad for them.
No, actually, man, that was really surprising. They got 3 kills with the Deadeye, still managed to lose the fight somehow. Soon, even with the flash follow-up on the enemy Zarya, did not get the kill. So everything went ANOX's way somehow. Cypher with that Death Blossom, of course, was pretty pivotal. Oh, you can see a lot of kills going the way now of the defense. Not sure what the catalyst was there, but Cypher's going to fall as well, and that's basically a full team wipe, at least forcing Reinhardt back to the spawn. No, they are going to get the kill.
Yeah, I think we got a Graviton in there. The back lines, I think, if I'm not mistaken.
Crew, yeah, it looks like his ult charge is low.
Sneaking around the side, and that was a very perfect attack. And again, even though it didn't work out in the end because we saw the Death Blossom coming in from Cypher to push things past into that third point. Just beautiful placement from Soon, always thinking about how he can get that Deadeye in from behind at the right times. Harder than it looks against the top teams, but now it's back in for another push here. As all the ultimates are going to be popped here. Zapri on that Genji, he's going to be going for the Dragon Blade, and once again, actually, ANOX able to actually fall back, seeing that maybe the ultimates are not going to work out, the positioning not going to work out, and they're going to wait for it to burn off.
Cypher actually going off now, does not have Dragon Blade himself, but they basically just defended the Zapri Dragon Blade perfectly. They fled. Cypher, once he realized the sword was put away, was taking the opportunity to dive in on the supports. You can see Zapri actually falling now to Sherrick, and the team is just rolling now. We may see a switch to a Tracer or something like that as we are sort of in that trickle defense mode. Here's a nice sound barrier on both sides, actually keeping the teams in high health. Graviton Surge from the attacking team catches several members of the defense, and it looks like they will have the follow-up damage there. Rubicon in the back just shelling away as Zenyatta, Kenzie up in the front, as McCree getting those flashes and fans as needed. Everything going the way of ANOX. They're still standing against only a couple of defenders here. They are going to set a time.
Very nicely done, actually. I honestly expected Misfits to have stronger holds there, but ANOX showed that they are still very, very potent when it comes to King's Row and breaking some of these points. And with the strategies that they ran, we saw, of course, the 3 tank setup to begin with. And although Misfits had good battles here and there, again, we saw those clutch plays coming in, and this is something that we were not able to see in the previous match with Melty playing up against ANOX. Whenever there were mistakes, we didn't see the individual skill kind of saving them. It was always ANOX who could make the mistakes and say, well, we have really good players, so we're allowed to make those mistakes, and we can still capitalize.
Yeah, Cypher specifically, that Death Blossom at the second checkpoint there really worked out for them. They took out Soon and Zebosai with the Death Blossom. I saw it again there on the replay to piece it together a little bit more. I was a little bit curious how I was able to flip like that, but essentially it was just a great Death Blossom from above. He got launched kind of up on top of the top railing there and was able to stay alive with that Harmony Orb, and basically full health against only a Zarya was easily able to clean up. So very interesting set of events there. We did get to see the Graviton Surge there in the last point as well that we missed the original time through, but everything ANOX did looked pretty good. 6 minutes, 10 seconds is going to be a kind of tough time to beat for Misfits. You said that last time ANOX did a full hold here on A. I think that's not really expected. I mean, obviously they have a chance to do so, but I would be very surprised to see that happen with the way they've played this first round.
Yeah, and I think another characteristic of ANOX previously was we would often see Cypher maybe just at the detriment of some other aspects of his team's game and their ability to play around the hero that he's playing, because he would always just stick on Genji, because he's of course an amazing Genji, but even if you're a super amazing Genji, there are some spots that aren't necessarily going to call for it, and I would typically see him playing Genji, you know, on the defense here, and that's what he used previously. So it's quite cool to see him, you know, switching on to Reaper and finding more versatility there.
I like that pan there ending on King's Row. As the doors open, we see Misfits running forward. They have a more standard composition, not 3 tanks this time around. It is going to be Reaper and McCree with the more typical Zarya, Reinhardt, and Lucio Zenyatta. Good shots there from Soon across the field there, past the hotel, does find his target, and Sherrick goes down as well. Misfits actually just rolling onto the point. I don't think, yeah, Kenzie's not going to be able to do anything himself here, but he does find at least 2 kills before going down.
And I love that you can really see just the brute power of Misfits as well, as well as the intelligent game plans that they can often come up with, or the sneaky plays. You know, they show that brute force quality in players like Soon and Zapri, of course, their DPSs, and that was a very fast take, and ANOX are going to be very disappointed with that, that's for sure.
Yeah, I think ANOX, they're going to have to regroup, of course. We see Zarya pushed up very far already. Crew, very, very good Zarya player, just waiting to be able to call out to his team when they appear, basically. They are setting up for this very narrow choke. You normally don't fight right outside this pub unless you have plenty of time to set up. This is a much more typical spot now where you see the defense kind of backing up. This very narrow alleyway can be really good for defensive Reapers, Zaryas, Reinhardts even, just being able to swing away. So the engagement, not sure what we're going to see, because Soon is not trying to flank. Kenzie actually is going to pop the zoning Deadeye to get the fight started, and Misfits will have to back off to start out.
It feels a little bit awkward right now as well, because neither team really has ultimates to work with, and no one wants to give each other free charges. They progress up here through the middle streets with that payload, but it looks like the action will be forced there, as we see Soon just getting amongst everything. But there's the Graviton Surge coming in at a timely moment, as well as the Earth Shatter, and that is absolutely beautiful. The Fire Strike comes in, just swinging the hammer, and Sherrick is on fire. Of course, beautiful stuff, and ANOX will be able to hold that one down.
Definitely feels good as a Reinhardt player to see the pins set up for you to just knock him down with Fire Strike and a eventual pin, but he didn't even need the whole combo. Essentially everything was cleaned up very nicely there by the defense. This is ANOX's first time really being stalled out. Kenzie with the behind the back Deadeye finds 3 kills immediately. We saw this happen before, and they still lost the fight, so I'm not going to speak too soon, but he does get the follow-up kill there on Skipjack, and that cart is going to be totally ANOX's for now.
Yeah, that is really frustrating. Indeed, especially as ANOX are right now rocking that ultimate advantage, and they don't have the Transcendence yet, which is really, really nice, just generally speaking, but especially on spots like this where your entire team, it's very easy to catch your entire team with it, and Kenzie doesn't have to go for the flanks just yet, but they are quite worried about maybe some kind of setup being, well, set up by the opposition, but it's going to be actually the Graviton Surge coming in there. So much damage being done. What can Cypher get out of this one? Just pushing forwards on the weakened Misfits, who are trying to retreat now. That attack did not work. Once again, ANOX is pushing that payload all the way back.
Yeah, defense just happy to sit here and shell away as long as they get 1 pick on each engagement. Essentially, it's very hard for the attackers to fight 5v6 against an entrenched defense that have ults available. We've got Death Blossom, Earth Shatter, and both defensive ults available for ANOX on defense, while Misfits on the attacking side, they're going to most likely have to use their sound barrier here just to engage. So we'll see very shortly here as we push back into the choke. I hear High Noon going off. That's actually going to be Soon starting off for the attackers. Transcendence for the defense gets popped. Sound barrier's out. Everything's going crazy now. We've got the Death Blossom on top of the cart. Doesn't find anything. Soon gets the kill on Sherrick. Cypher goes down as well. This could be the attacker's time. Skipjack kills Rubicon and Kenzie goes down. So yes, finally, Misfits have broken free.
Yeah, and you can see that Cypher was very much struggling to find a timing there for the Death Blossom, waiting for all the ultimates to be popped before making the decision, then makes a decision maybe at an unfortunate spot where no one could really help him and everyone was super stacked. So this is Misfits now on a really nice push, a bit of momentum as the ANOX defenders will start to meet them. And Zafri is up on top there with the Reaper. Good damage there. And he looks like he's going to maintain control of the high ground, which is quite important. As you can see, he's going to be able to drop down behind McCree, but very nicely done. Pushed away. Kenzie with the frag.
What a save. That was great. I thought for sure Kenzie was going to die during that Deadeye. I mean, he didn't get a ton out of it. Zafri was the only person to actually die in that exchange, but good turnaround there for ANOX. If that goes the other way, they lose their McCree very quickly. They lose that Deadeye potential. Everything could be completely different, so gotta still give props to ANOX. There's a Graviton Surge coming out now from ANOX. Lots of other ultimates available. Earth Shatter from Sherrick could be a follow-up that ends up in a total wipe, but he's just swinging free and clear right now. Crew in extremely low health does eventually fall, and ANOX again have defended. Only 90 seconds left. That's maybe two, maybe a third fight if they go quickly.
Absolutely, yeah. There's a lot of like very small edges being grabbed onto here, and small opportunities going either way, having a pretty big implication. And we can go into that a little bit later right now, as we have Misfits once again rallying up for the next push. As far as the ultimates goes, well, they're actually pretty stacked up on ultimates. We've got the Graviton Surge there on Crew. He's looking to get in behind the lines, and he's going to find all the supports there as the damage starts raining in. But the Transcendence will be popped as well for Misfits, so they're looking quite healthy from that perspective. But at the same time, it looks like ANOX have loads of ults to pop. ANOX got himself a Graviton Surge straight on the payload as the charge rains in, and that is so much damage. ANOX cleaning house. Everyone dead for Misfits, apart from Soon.
Wow, that totally flipped on its head. Once that Death Blossom came out and then the Deadeye actually caught Zapray, he was like in the shield of Reinhardt, not totally exposed, but just enough of him to get Deadeyed out, and that totally helped ANOX just roll in with everything else. It felt like they were giving Misfits false hope. They like backed up a little bit and then just crashed over them once again.
Nice play here from Soon, getting the flashbang in there aggressively. The Discord's helping him out. Misfits actually making a pretty solid push here. They're really maintaining the integrity of their numbers. Cypher's going to have to make a big play to stop this right now. Basically, he will get spotted and flashbang. So Cypher right now, he has not got the element of surprise. He needs some support, but he gets nailed straight in the face. Soon, he is a marksman, and he is still going to work. We will have the Transcendence coming in to keep ANOX alive just for a moment longer, but the numbers are still with Misfits at the moment. Can they hold on?
Time's up already.
Oh,
that's GG. So the Transcendence actually lasted essentially all the time they needed to finish the map, and ANOX are going to take this first map, just like they did in that BO5 in week 1.
Very nice, but it was not quite as easy as it was then on that single point hold. I have to say I'm quite impressed by ANOX, because just generally seeing more, they're more loose in the good way. They're not kind of restricted to playing, again, in too static of a fashion, which it did feel like before. And perhaps, you know, as Rachel pointed out in the interview, maybe they don't have the best grasp necessarily as to the right path, but right now it seems like they have that flexibility, and it worked right now against Misfits.
Yeah, and I think Kenzie, we saw the highlights there, that triple Deadeye with a nice follow-up. That was enough to get them defensively squared away for almost the rest of the map. They took so long in that second phase that I think it would have been a lot closer had they won any of those like 4 or 5 engagements. But Kenzie just buying a ton of time. Every single time someone would charge in or a fight would start, Kenzie was in the right place at the right time. No one slipped up. I saw a couple of weird Deadeye kills again where it's like, why are you past the Reinhardt shield when you shouldn't be? The Reaper duels were pretty good. We saw the Race Car Zens actually battling it out a couple times with the dual Transcendences, and everything, I think, just small advantages really just piled up there for ANOX. It was incredibly close, as we saw. If that Transcendence wasn't available at the end, maybe Zenyatta dies on the way in, but the fact that he was able to pop that ult and buy the team like 10 more seconds at the very end was all they needed. Really good stuff there across the board.
It's really exciting going into Nepal, as it will be the next map, because again, it's a map that I feel like, well, a game style that is much more fitting, I feel, to ANOX and their incredible individual skill. I mean, you can see that across the board from them. We saw Kenzie going absolutely just mad in the previous King the Hill. So I'm just looking forward to seeing how that's going to go, because I mean, I felt like Misfits would win because we see multiple payloads. I thought King's Row was a map that they would just take, but now it feels like ANOX could go for the 2-0, actually. I feel more like that is the reality.
Yeah, the King's Row was very, very close. It was much closer, obviously, than any of the matches that we saw in the first 2 matches, which was Misfits versus Bikini 2-0, and then ANOX versus Melty 2-0. They both look dominant against their first opponents. Now that they're battling each other, things look very, very good. We saw great plays, great ultimates out of both sides, good coordination. It was only the little slip-ups or the little gains that ended up making the difference. But here on Nepal, these slip-ups are going to cost a lot more. Basically, everything is kind of enhanced in this point, where we've got Kenzie most likely going to bringing out that Tracer again, working with Rubicon, who we talked to in the interview, about sticking together and picking Tracer's targets and stuff like that. That was really, really effective against Melty, which is a really good esports club. But can Misfits actually, I'm sure they watched the series, of course. If Nepal ended up in the map pool at all, it's because they watched it and they thought we can beat that, or maybe actually ANOX just let it continue falling because they were so dominant here. But if I was Misfits, I think I would get rid of this map after seeing that performance.
And it's cool to see, the Genji Tracer combo from Cypher Kenzie. That's going to be a really interesting dynamic to follow from the DPS perspective. But yeah, Zapri, Soon, Crew, very, very versatile players. Seeing that Tracer coming out from Zapri is very exciting for me. We're going to have those Tracer battles, hopefully. And here you go. Kenzie will find himself a little in, and that is it. The ANOX is going to be dropping in with that shield, and that's going to give him just... Oh, they're all funneling in one spot. That's not optimal at all. And it's going to be a very easy cleanup. ANOX with much better positioning overall there.
ANOX just crushed it. We saw Kenzie wait for so long. He's like, can I go now? Can I go now? How about now? How about now? Finally, they were overextended enough. They send in the cavalry. The cavalry arrived and took everyone out. Everything working great there. They're able to take the first point here on Sanctum. This is obviously a best of 5 once again, so even if Misfits can't get the point back, we are going to be seeing at least 2 more rounds. Cypher here on the Genji against Soon's McCree. So that's the only difference in these lineups here, and Soon actually getting taken out very quickly means that he may be changing soon.
Yeah, I feel like as a McCree, it's very, very difficult if you don't have already the point and it's running, because you don't get the positioning on this kind of a map, especially against the Winstons. It's just so easy for them to just lock you out. And right now it's looking very, very strong from ANOX, just able to hold down these choke points. They have good communication. They're dealing pretty well with it. And the ultimate advantage, well, there is actually not necessarily an ultimate advantage right now, and that's really all that Misfits have going in their, not necessarily in their favor, but it's not working against them at least.
Sure. And Reaper, I think, is a good switch here for Soon because he does have Wraithwalk and a little bit more HP pool to work with. Cypher getting the Dragon Blade out now, dives right into a very protected group, but does find a kill there on Soon. That Reaper is going to be definitely missed by Misfits. Now the rest of the team is falling. Graviton Surge came out from the side of Misfits a little late after they had lost a couple of members, so maybe a questionable ultimate there from Crew, normally very, very solid with his Graviton Surges. Could have been used here in the next engagement. Now they are going to be without it.
And not only that, ANOX managed to keep themselves with loads of ultimates, especially having Sharik on that Graviton Surge. And there it is, and that's going to be very, very painful as everybody's going to come in. Now it's Kenzie in there with Tracer, and there's the double from the Pulse Bomb, and it's going from good to better, and it's just looking magical at the moment for ANOX as they just crush over Misfits. Get a few stragglers left alive, but once again, Kenzie has all the positioning to work with this Tracer, and he is completely unchecked because there's just too many targets to deal with.
Yeah, and I think, as weird as it is, Tracer is not the priority for most of these attacking characters. It's going to be the supports. Kenzie literally is benefiting from the fact that he's not the most important person, but he is dealing out so much damage. You can see again here in the highlights, just as soon as they send him in, it's like a cascading waterfall just crashing onto these rocks of Misfits. And again, the Pulse Bomb did not wait out the Transcendence this time. Could have potentially gotten more with the ult, but the fact that it bursts and does enough damage through Transcendence with everyone else attacking as well is good enough. They got the 2 kills, and it was an easy cleanup from there.
And the whole Tracer dynamic is so interesting as well, as you're mentioning, like not being the high priority target. I mean, there's just a few heroes that are going to be able to efficiently, like, from a time perspective, be able to deal with Tracer, because Tracer just so annoying, such a nuisance with the recall and just the blinking everywhere, so hard to deal with. So you want to have specific heroes trying to do that, and if you don't have them, they're distracted. Kenzie is just going to walk all over you, and this is where we saw him go absolutely just ham previously.
Yeah, here on the shrine portion of Nepal, Cypher dies immediately. Kenzie also down, so great job from Misfits. This actually looks very promising as they also take out ANOX. As everything starts to fall, of course, they are going to have to back off toward their spawn. But really good start here from Misfits. This is the first strong start we've seen from any of these teams against ANOX on King of the Hill.
And previously, although it's not going to be Zapri as he's sticking to the Tracer, the pick of Reaper was one of the things that actually turned the tide for a massive comeback to allow Misfits to win against ANOX on the capture point or King of the Hill in week one.
Nice.
So it's interesting to see that coming out. Now let's see if it makes a difference. Now they're finally going for the defense instead of having to retake. And in goes Kenzie once again, but now he's got discourse to worry about. He's getting focused down. He's not got enough teammates to support him there. In fact, his entire team are dispersed all over the place. So Jack will get just bashed over the side. And
Well,
it looks like it'll be a hold.
Yeah, Rubicon and Sherrick, realizing most of their team was dead, they're just like, we want to respawn. We don't want to leave it to the Misfits to kill us and just wait and drag it out. So obviously the hop backwards looks a little crazy from Zarya, but everything working out as planned here for ANOX, who are trying to get back to the point. Zapri on that Tracer has been doing as well as Kenzie did previously. I think they've actually finally figured out we need to kill Kenzie because he's died so fast in the first couple of engagements. He may actually need to switch if this continues.
And I love this play from Zapri. He's just going wild. And I love the positioning before the attack came in from ANOX because it just gives him just that extra second of time to communicate where the attack is coming from. And that extra second for repositioning for his teammates makes all the difference. And Misfits held on very well there.
Yeah, I gotta say Zapri's Tracer play is actually looking a bit better than Flippy's in the previous series, and that is definitely helping them out. The Death Blossom comes out from soon. He was protected by the Zarya bubble. Found the kill on Cooler, and that's extremely important, but Graviton Surge Pulse Bomb combo comes in yet again. We've got a discorded Winston, Primal Raging. Kenzie's just going to back out of there, try and stay alive, but he actually does fall to Zapri again. Kudos to him. 85% to 0 is not something I expected to see here, with ANOX winning that first point so handily. So Misfits definitely cleaning it up. I think Zapri's a big part of that. Everyone else doing their jobs as needed. I've seen a Sound Barrier come out. Graviton Surge is coming out at the right times. Nothing wasted. There's Graviton Surge from the side of Misfits. Pulse Bomb coming out from Zapri. Does get the kill on Cypher. That's a lot of damage missing now from ANOX. Can they try to flip this back in overtime? We get a couple more kills going the way of Misfits. I think this is going to be 100-0. As shocking as that is, Sound Barrier comes out to keep them alive just a little bit longer, but I think it's going to be a pretty easy cleanup. Overtime will start to tick down. Zarya's lasted so long here. That was actually kind of crazy how long Sherrick was able to jump around. Kenzie's actually back to the fight and dies again. Cypher back in the second time falls as well. Pulse Bomb into the sky for celebration. 100-0. Great stuff from Misfits.
Yeah, and it does show, again, how different a dynamic it is having the point first, as we just see them instead of going for the retakes and maybe in that situation not working with an ultimate advantage, but maybe in a disadvantage or whatever the situation may be, but they actually get to hold on to it, set up their defenses, and to some extent you can play the information game where you can try to work out in a few seconds ahead of time where the attack's going to come from, and it does make a big difference. And Misfits, they adjusted very well, and there was one moment where I was a little bit worried where we saw the Lucio speed boost on the Death Blossom. Even though there's a shield on it to make it really safe, it still seemed like maybe they would overextend, but it all worked out so well for them anyway that it didn't matter that they whiffed.
Yeah, it seems like every engagement, Misfits were able to pick off an important part of ANOX. It was either Kenzie or Cooler basically every time. I think they are focusing their efforts, and that's definitely going to help them out here. This is the village portion here of Nepal, and you usually see this high ground battle play out because the winners want to be on the high ground as they take the first point. Discord Orb on Zapri. He's just, of course, going to rewind out of that. We got kills going both ways, but Crew and Soon getting a couple of kills. Soon actually following up as Reaper. Misfits getting a lot of kills here. They should be the first to take this point as well.
Yeah, this is looking, this doorway here, this is not much fun there, that choke point. And they'll see, wow, Zebasai actually able to claim the finishing blows there on the last two kills towards ANOX. So ANOX, once again, they're going to be having to work from behind, essentially, going for the retakes. And you can see, once again, the Misfits are having some forward positions here to make sure that they can defend against the high ground, the common attack route, and it looks like it could work out quite well. Crew is in a very good position here, right up in the face of his opposition there with the shield. He's got some teammates to try to sustain him as well as he gets healed there, but he's getting pushed all over the place. Wow. But it doesn't matter because so much, in a way, damage is going on to him. He's causing so much distraction that his teammates are able to clean up the rest of ANOX.
Yeah, 4 different members of Misfits got killing blows there. Everything working incredibly well for Misfits. They've got a bunch of ultimates available. ANOX does not have a sound barrier just yet. They might be able to work something here with the Transcendence, but they need to find some kills. Kenzie and Cooler are still the first ones dying.
Well, they
one or the
actually
other.
Like, they let Cooler survive for like 10 seconds, and that was quite hilarious.
Yeah.
We don't see enough of that, actually.
Well, we are starting to see it more. It's usually just in the heat of battle. You don't think about it until someone calls it out. Leave him alive, leave him alive. But here we go. Graviton Surge actually catching a couple of members of ANOX. Zapri unable to get any follow-up kills, but Sound Barrier did come out for the side of Misfits, so they should be able to outlast here. I don't see any kills going the way of ANOX, and everyone is falling yet again. The timing for Misfits ultimates, finding the correct priority targets, working out for them now. Kenzie was so low health, he's going to easily fall as well.
So maybe a bit of a better attempt, but again, you know, that situation where, you know, I guess because it's a Lucio, it is always a little bit easier when you just see a Lucio alive. You're not even worried that he can kill you, so probably easier to decide with your team. Let's let this guy live for a few extra seconds. But, you know, that might be one less attack. We'll have to see how that works out. We get the next attack, the follow-up attack coming in right now from ANOX. We get the leaps from the Winston, and it looks like Zapri once again is able to just wreak havoc here with his teammates. There's just so much damage output. The positioning, it's just so on point here for Misfits as they receive the push. ANOX need to come up with something better if they want to break that.
I'm getting terrible deja vu right now from week 1, where ANOX won King's Row, the first map, won the first round of the King of the Hill in the second
really
map,
decisively
and I
as well.
tweeted out, ANOX very likely going to win this one, and stop watching. They're fighting back. Misfits are fighting back again. This is playing out exactly like it did last time. It's Nepal
really
instead of
is.
Lijiang, but it's the same situation, and this is only a BO3. So ANOX did not have as much time to recoup themselves as they did in that first BO5. This is a BO3 to go to Atlanta, the $300,000 portion of the event. So this is an incredibly important map. Every single round matters so much here, and ANOX, they're fighting from behind for the first time today.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be quite interesting to see how this one goes because, of course, they had such success on the Sanctum. And again, we saw initially it was due to the fact that Kenzie was able to find really good positioning with his Tracer, and he waited for the perfect moment when his teammates were able to basically force Misfits into a very bad choke point. Let's see if Misfits make the same mistake.
Oh man, what a good pan. Shout out to the observers here at Face It and ELEAGUE's Overwatch Open, doing such a great job throughout the qualifiers and today. Crew is going to be leading the charge here for his team. They actually split up. The split offense is something you don't normally see, but if a couple of damage dealers can manage to flank ANOX, that could work out well for Misfits. They just don't want to make the same mistake that they did last time, where they're all bunched up. Tracer just came in and wrecked house. This time around, Cypher is going to be the first one to go down. Maybe a little reckless, maybe not. Kenzie still trading kills. Cooler goes down as well. Anak goes down. We're losing tanks and healers on both sides. It still is kind of a mystery what's going to happen, but Kenzie still alive is a great tool here for ANOX.
Ooh, yes, very nice indeed. Able to take down Winston there and get himself onto the point, cleaning up the Reaper in soon. And Kenzie just continuing to do work with the Tracer, showing Tracer's King of the Hill value massively at the moment as he falls back off the point now that they've claimed it and starts ticking up. And they start to set up against the oncoming offense from Misfits. Once again, you know, finding themselves in that position. And previously they were not able to recover from that. Let's see if they can do a better job this time.
They have a couple of ultimates to work with. Actually, only the one, Pulse Bomb, but Zebosai is pretty close to that sound barrier. He might be able to get use out of it here, but ANOX popping that Transcendence very early to ensure that they win. Zapre's just like, nope, we're wiping soon, and Zapre crew all go down there very quickly, and ANOX claiming this point first is actually starting to pile up now, 33% against 0%. Misfits won the last 2 rounds pretty handily, and they are starting to get shaken again here on Sanctum.
Yeah, that attack fell a little flat in the end there, and see if Misfits can do a better job here. They've got quite a few ultimates to work with. Zapri was able to save his Pulse Bomb. Skipjack there with the Primal Rage. He'll be going in right now and trying to clean up the offense. But Cypher pulls out the Dragon Blade, only to be shut down immediately. And that could spell trouble right now here for ANOX as they are losing members left and right. It's just Rubicon and Kula who are left alive, and they're not going to do anything. That was clean for Misfits.
Very clean, and every member again got some representation there on the kill feed, so everyone definitely putting in their best effort. Zapri not having to even use Pulse Bomb. We got several ults still available for Misfits. I thought we were going to see a bit more fireworks than we did, but the fact that Cypher pulled the Dragon Blade and got shut down immediately means it wasn't necessary. Here's the Graviton Surge we were looking for. That's going to be an easy cleanup there. Even though the enemy Graviton Surge was used, that's actually great for ANOX as they are surviving without Misfits actually wiping them. So everything looking good. Kenzie actually has an opportunity here to stay alive, flip the point back. It's just a discorded Primal Rage Winston. He's going to have to hop out of there eventually and wait for his team to regroup. Yeah, they're going to flip it back 55% to 36. No, actually, they got back in time.
We see the Transcendence there to buy even more time. Kenzie trying to do what he can, but the sound barrier will be dropped there to add a lot of sustainability there to Misfits as they dance around the point. And the Pulse Bomb comes in.
Nice.
Great work. They're taking down Skipjack. That's the Winston out of the picture, which is very important. And Kenzie's still alive, still doing damage. His teammates now starting to allow him even more space to work with to just really elevate him as the star performer from a damage perspective, and he's living up to that right now as once again Misfits are going to have to go back to the drawing board.
Yeah, Misfits were able to squeeze out 17% more just from that engagement, so definitely a nice thing to them not to allow ANOX to flip it so early, but a lot of ultimates were expended actually on both sides, and Kenzie is still the ultimate weapon here, just drilling into those discorded targets. Cypher has Dragon Blade again, I wouldn't use it if I was Cypher, because literally every time he's tried here on King of the Hill, he's been shut down completely.
And he doesn't have too much to work with, but he's going to get in there with it anyway. The Transcendence will come in to play, so that's going to make Cypher's life incredibly difficult. That will completely negate his Dragon Blade. Great Transcendence there coming in from Misfits, and Cypher still trying to do damage. It's still alive actually somehow now as his teammates come in to start dispersing some of the damage, and it's just so hard to survive on the point there is Genji. Where do you go?
Everyone on Misfits cleaning up once again, flipped the point at 97%, so now they cannot let go of it. We have Kenzie still doing a great job, but Zapri is actually matching him pretty well. I want to say it's Cypher not being a weak link or anything like that. He's just getting shut down. Misfits, credit to them actually for just recognizing Cypher's Dragon Blade is a huge tool for our enemies. We need to shut him down as fast as possible, as quickly as we can. And it's just working out for them. We had another little exchange there where a couple of members on each side died, but it's actually going to be Misfits again, retaining the point. 81% now. ANOX has one more opportunity here. Primal Rage and Transcendence have to get the job done.
Yeah, and that's actually really cool. I'll have to see how that comes into play as now the push will be initiated. There is the lead coming in from the Winston. Let's see the Primal Rage as he'll try to push everybody around. The Pulse Bomb comes in. All the ults pop there. The Transcendence there as well as everything is expended. Kenzie has himself a Pulse Bomb. Can he find a spot to use it as the sound barrier is dropped there to just add survivability to the team? Gets himself back on there with a nice blink. Oh, there it is! Great Pulse Bomb coming in from Kenzie, and that's what they needed, but still, Misfits, they still have been making the frags here, but is it good enough? Zarya, when she's left alone against the stragglers, is always so strong, and Sharek will be able to survive, and that's going to be that amazing.
Sharek did have Cooler there available as well. Lucio's kind of skating around, but he was providing the heals, and 2 against 1 essentially meant that, unfortunately, the Tracer Zapri for Misfits was unable to get the flip back, but 99% to 100 is a much closer contest than we've seen. ANOX are not going to let this go willingly. Of course, this is their last opportunity. It is 2-2. ANOX, if they win this round, they're going to Atlanta. Misfits, on the other hand, if they win this round, they're going to Atlanta. No, they're not. They still have to win another map. So ANOX in a great position of power here. Can they pull it together? This is really do or die for them.
Kenzie with those Pulse Bombs are just simply money.
Yeah, everything so far. That last Pulse Bomb where he flew off the map, and I was like, does he have a dash?
Yeah.
Oh my god, he could just die here, and this would be terrible, but everything came together. He got the last second blink and the Pulse Bomb.
Yeah.
So ANOX have to be super thrilled about that. But here we go. This engagement is going to be super important. We saw on Shrine the last time they were here, Misfits were able to take the point, and they did not let go. So this is a very, very tough one to attack into.
Yep, and Kenzie once again finding himself around the side there. Quick rewind, able to keep himself alive, keep the damage on, and looks actually like Misfits are doing a very good job of getting the frags at the moment. Again, the presence from Soon with the Reaper is really being felt in his close-range engagements with all the support of his teammates. Skipjack will leap out of there on low HP, but Misfits have more than enough players alive on the point to force Sharek off the edge, because right now he knows that his team is done, and they're going to have to regroup for the second attack.
That's interesting, because they tried to stretch the fight out. Even though there were only 2 members of ANOX alive, there were only a couple members of Misfits, so they thought maybe they could work it out, but then eventually someone made the call, just hop off. This is not happening. We're not going to be able to get in and join you, so we'll just regroup and try to do some concerted effort. Zapri does have Pulse Bomb, though, so this choke could be very dangerous for them. There is no Graviton Surge or anything to back it up or to assist, but one Pulse Bomb sticky can just change the tide of a battle. There goes the Pulse Bomb, not actually going to find any kills. Sound Barrier goes out for the side of Misfits, already in control of the point, is going to help them definitely hang on here. Cypher and Rubicon get a couple of kills, but it's going to be Nevix popping Transcendence, preventing them from coming onto the point.
Yeah, that's a really, really important Transcendence as well, as they start to regroup, and Soon's going to go ham there with that Death Blossom. Very nicely done, especially as he was discorded. He was the main target, but he himself now will be just gunning down everybody as Winston will leap to his death once again as they try not to allow their spawns to be staggered as they come in for the next attack. And yeah, I mean, the timing on the Transcendence there was perfect, because it was very even, it felt like, and Misfits were able to fall back into a superior positioning at the same time, and that was just enough to get it done.
Yeah, it definitely just bought them enough time, similar to the first map, where Transcendence basically ended the game, for Soon to get in there with that Death Blossom, and the Death Blossom was very effective because he was at full health, he was against low health targets, everything went well. Misfits now trying to hang on to the point, lose Skipjack very quickly, but Cypher is down for the side of ANOX, so pretty even trade overall. Kenzie still going to be hammering away at that Zarya, trying to get him super low health. That first engagement could have gone totally differently, by the way. Crew and Skipjack were both incredibly low, and Kenzie just could not get the finishing blows. This time he does, and it's going to be the first flip for ANOX here on the Shrine.
Yeah, it's great to see Kenzie trying to be so responsible, just complete focus on crew. Just the Zarya must die at all costs, just harassing and harassing relentlessly. And now we'll see the next attack coming in. And once again, actually, you can see that Kenzie was, as the Tracer, is playing that scout role. They want to know where the attack's coming from to set up, and the pulse one goes in. And here is the defense now coming from ANOX. Can they be as good as Misfits were?
Discorded Primal Rage Winston stands up a lot better against Reaper than regular old Winston, but Sound Blossom, yes, that's what happened. Sound Barrier into Death Blossom actually allowed them to get a couple of kills, but again, it is Misfits getting the bulk of the kills. Crew somehow died, killed himself. I'm sure it was just splash damage from a grenade lob. I don't think he would have chucked himself off the edge so early in the fight, so just a unfortunate kill feed for them. I'm sure that he was taken out regularly. Kenzie actually on the Tracer still just pouring in that damage. There's no one really left alive except for Zapri, and he's getting smacked around by the ulted Winston. So ANOX back up to 54% now against 81% as they reclaim the point.
Yeah, I mean, we saw Zebasai alive for a very long time though with Lucio, and Zapri was also alive for a very long time, and it really felt like if Zapri was just able to come in there a little bit sooner to help out Zebasai, maybe they would have actually been able to take down Kenzie and maybe do something there. But hey, it's the next attack for them. The Graviton Surge comes in on the stairs, very awkward placement, and ANOX will be able to clean house there. Cypher claiming the frags with that Reaper, but soon comes back in with a Reaper of his own, but he's not really got the support here to keep himself alive, so the frags he'll get won't really add up to too much in the end.
In the end, it didn't even matter for Misfits. 85% now for ANOX. Only one more push here from Misfits. They have only the offensive ultimates available. Zebosai is reasonably close to a sound barrier if he can manage to stay alive long enough in the melee here. Pulse Bomb goes out, but it's actually just to kind of close the door on Reaper there. Die, die, die is announced. Misfits actually unable to get the kills though as ANOX popped the sound barrier. Perfect timing. We actually have people getting low on both sides, but Misfits have a sound barrier of their own. This could be their opportunity at 99% to finally flip it. Zapri getting a ton of damage in. You can see him actually just zipping around as Tracer unchecked, and that is going to go into a flip for Misfits. Now it's one more chance for ANOX to try to win the map.
Yeah, there we go. And once again, they send out Zapri as a scout on the Tracer to see where is this attack coming from, when is it going to actually start to hit us, as it looks like Misfits are very strong right now. Nevix has that Transcendence. That's going to be so key going in right now as we see Rubicon pushing in. All the ultimates dropped at once. The Graviton Surge will be sucking everybody in right into the middle there on the Shrine. And it's going to be anyone's at this point as all the ultimates have been popped here. Kenzie again free reign, finds the Discorded target. Very nicely done. Kenzie unchecked. Just Discord after Discord. He will finish every last one. And there's a Graviton Surge. But it looks like this is not necessarily ANOX's Shrine. It's Kenzie's.
Yeah, Kenzie just a great job again. Everything looks so good for ANOX. I want to say it was the combination of ultimates, the very last few ultimates that were available, the Graviton Surge there from Sherrick, Kenzie's Pulse Bomb, getting the damage necessary. Crew actually switched to Soldier there at the end, most likely just to sprint back in as soon. Also switched to that Genji. So they tried the trickle-in retake, didn't work out for them. ANOX actually take both maps, and they will be our first team headed to Atlanta for the $300,000 live event.
Oh yeah, and wow, I mean, if I had to, like, my own personal play of the game, of course we saw Shari just going nuts there. It has to be that moment when Kenzie saved himself from falling away,
right,
and then the
on
pulse
Sanctum.
bomb on Sanctum. Yeah.
He was flying up in the air, and we're like, oh, does he have rewind? Does he have a dash? Did he use it all? Because he's zipping around the entire time. I've been in that situation many times where it's like, I just got knocked off by Winston, and I don't have rewind because I'm an idiot. But this guy, obviously a pro, a little bit better at it, got the pulse bomb, everything went in their way, and ANOX are the first to punch their ticket to Atlanta. Rachel, rejoining us at the desk. What'd you think of that?
That was thrilling, particularly that moment you were talking about with Kenzie. Really way to turn around that play there with a 4-man kill after that. And when we got to talk to Rubicon, who's on Kenzie's team, we were talking about running around together as a Zenyatta Tracer duo. We really saw that on the points today, where, like you said, right at the end of that last cast, wherever the Discord orb was, Kenzie was. And Kenzie was getting kills across the board, a huge player for his team. But we saw a lot of great plays, a lot of great contributions from each of the players. So overall, what do you guys think? Was this an ANOX victory, or was this a Misfits loss?
I think it was an ANOX victory. Honestly, Kenzie again exceeding expectations. It looked a little shaky once Misfits started rearing back and finally saying, "Hey, stop taking all our points. We're gonna, actually battle back." Zapri actually had a great game as well, but just a little bit overshadowed by Kenzie just running around freely almost every single time. Once they figured out. It was the second round, I believe, of Nepal where they figured out we need to kill Kenzie immediately, and they shut him down the first 2-3 pushes. That was all they needed to hang on to the point the entire game, and essentially they were unable to do it. They let it slip a little bit on that last shrine, and Kenzie was able to just go to work again.
I feel like these two teams are actually very, very even right now as of what we saw here today. It could really have gone either way.
Yeah, both maps.
But I'm just very impressed also at how different both teams play, because Misfits have quite a different style. But one thing that I'd be very curious, I mean, with these two teams right now, considering how exciting that was, I would just love to see all the maps. I want to see all the maps of these two teams. I want to see how they face off against them with their different styles, because we saw that what was a very different approach as to what ANOX normally used to do with King's Row, which was one of their best maps, where they would go for ANOX would start the engagement with a Winston, but then this time they went for the triple tank setup, not putting as much stock in Cypher, opening up the map for them and allowing the team to come into it more, and also Kenzie, and that seems to have worked wonderfully.
Yeah, Cypher on that Roadhog, actually. You're mentioning the triple tank, Cypher playing tank as he normally does not.
Yeah.
You can still get that instant kill with Roadhog. He actually has a couple different ways to yank someone down from the high ground, break up that defense really easily, and everything worked out for them on King's Row. Of course, it was a very close match, and Transcendence ended up saving the day. But yeah, I think that was an incredibly close match. A couple of seconds on either of those maps, and maybe it's Misfits forcing a game 3.
Great. Well, we can go for some extra insight from Rubicon, of course. Joining us once again from Team ANOX. He is their Zenyatta player. Rubicon, welcome back.
Hey there. I gotta say, I didn't expect to come back here.
Well, you are back, and you guys have taken out Misfits. Now, this was a team that you faced earlier on in the league. Where do you think you guys have changed mostly over the course of this league that allowed you to win today?
I can't say for everyone, but I myself didn't do a lot of mistakes. Like there was a minimal amount of them.
Yes, there were very, very few mistakes, and we did see you working in conjunction with Kenzie, as you mentioned before. What worked out best for you? What were your favorite plays?
I don't know. I just think that we used our ultimates really well. We didn't waste too many of them, and we circulated them really good.
How does it feel to get revenge against Misfits and, more importantly, become the first team actually to travel to Atlanta at the end of September?
Kind of strange.
Well, I mean, you better get used to it.
I gotta say, we didn't expect this at all.
Well, that's great. Good surprise victory there, building your spirits there. Now that you are actually coming to Atlanta, what do you think? You guys boot camped before, right? Do you expect to do that again now in the coming weeks before you travel?
We probably have to, but we don't have anything set in stone yet.
Gotcha.
And what is this going to mean for the team overall? We've seen a lot of teams like Misfits, the team you just beat, sort of get themselves together team-wise, branding-wise, really make a big splash with sponsors and attention. Is this the moment for ANOX to really capitalize on the attention of the scene?
Yeah, maybe. It's not up to me, though.
Who's it up to?
Well, management, I guess.
Yeah. Well, I guess we'll see, of course, how everything unfolds. But as it stands, ANOX, of course, very impressive. Dan, do you have any questions for Rubicon?
I have one question. Considering some of the uncertainty, like you didn't expect to find yourself in this position here maybe today, what has been the biggest struggle for ANOX in the last few weeks?
We didn't perform really well after this first week as well, if you remember. Everybody remembers us as a team that won Reunited and what was it, Rogue?
Mm-hmm.
After that, we just kind of fall down. We didn't do really well, and you could see this in our results.
Well, you guys are back on form today and kicking some butt. We look forward to see what you can do at the finals in Atlanta at the end of September. So thank you so much, Rubicon, for coming to talk to us once again. When we come back, we have the North American segment of our regional qualifiers. Please don't go anywhere.